Nothing is inconsequential. Nothing. If you want to elevate your very existence and strut through life in your main character energy, then you must wrap your mind, your heart, your awareness, your willingness around the mantra, nothing is inconsequential. Everything matters. And how you do anything is how you do everything. So let's unpack this together. Hey, Star Monroe here from the Star Monroe Show. All things main character energy, so you can strut through the world confident, unbothered, and exclusive. I've had this conversation more than one occasion with my private clientele and also the members inside my main character energy group season 2024. And what it comes down to is that your ego, if you let it run the show, is always looking for quick fixes, solutions to perceived problems, and it wants the fastest, quickest route possible. And life doesn't work like that. Your evolution, your expansion doesn't work in a linear fashion. Also, as you're expanding and evolving, I will guarantee you there is going to be healing work, and healing work definitely doesn't work on in a linear fashion. It's it has an energy of its own, healing, expansion, and growth. And things come to us not when we want them. That's the child in you and I. I want this now. Things don't come to us when we want them. They come to us when we're ready. And that's beyond the scope of our ego, logical, rational mind to even comprehend. It thinks that if I just do this step, this step, this step, I'm going to get all my goodies and then I'm going to be living happily ever after. I hate to burst your bubble. And I know that you know life doesn't work like this. And even when I hire strategists for my business with marketing or helping me hone my craft with speaking or my messaging, yes, they have a strategy for me. And yet it requires me to dig deeper inside me, the willingness to look at myself deeper, to hear myself deeper, and the willingness to drop into the unknown because what got me here won't get me there. And so I have to, and this is the same for you as you're on this expansion evolution journey, you have to move into this place of not knowing the answers, of being able to sit in the uncomfortability of not knowing, of not having the answers, of feeling impatient. And if you don't monitor this and discipline yourself here, you will resort back to old patternings of what got you here. So this cycles me back to nothing is inconsequential. Nothing you do is inconsequential. Everything you do matters. From how you make your bed in the morning, from how you place your feet on the floor and say good morning to yourself, how you brush your teeth, how you look at yourself in the mirror, how you make yourself coffee, how you sit down or don't sit down and do your morning journaling and take time to contemplate and really learn to be with yourself at a deeper place. Nothing is inconsequential. So you always, when you wrap your head around that, if you are here to expand and grow, if you are indeed a woman like me who is not here to settle and is here to demand so much more from life, then you have to understand all the tiny things you do day in, day out matter. You are literally building your life through the tiny things that you do. A long time ago, I've been doing my job for 35 years now, I said, you've got to change the things that you do all the time. So at that point, it was how you think, how you eat, because we're always eating. I can't remember the third one. Oh, I think it probably was how you sleep. So I was always looking at the things that you do the most often. This is good, actually. It's a good reminder for you to double down on your sleep hygiene. And let's look at one of those for today using the lens of nothing is inconsequential. And it's the words that you use, it's the thoughts that are running around in your head. And I'm not sure where you are on your personal growth journey. And I'll open a door for you, and this is where you are going. You're moving towards the place where you know within your heart and your soul and your spirit that you are the observer of your mind and your thoughts. You are not your mind, you are not your thoughts. And your job and my job is to learn how to observe them like fluffy clouds and not get attached to them, or indeed be codependent to the thoughts that go on in your head. I read a long time ago, and I don't know whether this is true or not, we have over 60,000 thoughts a day. Could be more, could be less. That's a lot of thoughts. That's a lot of thoughts. And you're only aware of part of them. And you have a choice, because if you have that awareness, call it audacious awareness, you have this choice that the ones that you are aware of, you're going to start to look and to observe and see whether they are supporting you in where you're going in life, or whether you are indeed cock blocking your progress. You may say self-sabotage. Another word for self-sabotage is protecting oneself, because when we grow and evolve, it will feel unsafe. And if you haven't learned the skills of soothing your nervous system, healing those wounded parts that have been leading the way, you know your wounded parts lead the way, because there'll be a mess, boo-boos in your life, repeated patterns. That certainly happened to me when I got into my 40s. I have told this story before, but I looked around my life and I realised I was repeating 3 patterns in 3 different areas, although they were the same pattern. I was leaving and returning back to a codependent relationship, leaving, returning, leaving, returning. I was dieting and then binging, dieting and binging, dieting and binging. And then I was drinking alcohol, not drinking alcohol, drinking alcohol, not drinking alcohol. So that was a pattern. Now, those patterns are not the problem. Those patterns are not the problem. They are symptoms of a deeper problem. And if I do some psychology on me, and I will come back to what I was saying about the words, what I realized was I kept saying over and over again, I'm such an all or nothing person. I'm all or nothing. I'm such a perfectionist. Oh, this is who I am. Oh my God. If anyone ever says, or you say, this is who I am, run. But don't run from yourself, because you can't do that, because wherever you are in the world, there you are. Wake up to yourself. This is not who you are. It's a pattern you've taken on board. It's an identity that you've lived in, like a really worn sweatshirt or a pair of joggers that you wear over and over again. That's how I look at these identities. It's because you say that you are or I said I was an all or nothing or a perfectionist over and over again, I became that. We are a self-fulfilling prophecy. Nothing is inconsequential. What you say, you become. Your words are spells, they're incantations. You put yourself under a spell with the words you say. Underneath that, for me, because I'm all about going deeper, it's something I keep saying at the moment. I'm not here for the ones that want to paddle in the shallows of life. I'm here for the ones who want to scuba dive into the depths of who they are, because there's always more depth to you and I. So if I go back a notch. And so the symptoms were those three things: drinking, not drinking, binging, dieting, returning, going back into the codependent relationship, which was really toxic, really unhealthy. They were the symptoms. I was telling myself I was all or nothing. I was telling myself I was a perfectionist. And this had been going on for a long, long time in my life. And underneath that, which took therapy, I'm a huge advocate for therapy, for learning about yourself. You are your most valuable asset. You need to invest in yourself. Underneath those identities was a wounded inner child, was my wounded little girl who learned a very long time ago that it wasn't okay to be her, that she had to be somebody else, that she had to strive and be perfect, get amazing grades at school to be loved and accepted into our family unit. There is no blame here for anybody. I love my parents, and they did the best they could with the resources they had. I'm an adult. It is my responsibility to take care of myself. If I lay blame at somebody else's feet, I relinquish the power and the control over how I can change my life. So that started a journey of me reparenting my inner child. And I, again, a huge advocate for doing inner child work, reparenting these wounded parts of you, because if you don't, they will lead the way. They will date for you. They will eat for you. They will drink. They will find ways to cause havoc. You are not your younger version. You are the version of you that is here today. And this is the amazing thing about human beings, that we have within us consciousness. We have our imagination, and you may call it God, goddess, divine intelligence, source, the sage, whatever you want to call it. You've got it, I've got it. We are that. And your job and my job is to clear the decks so you are living in alignment with who you are. So this journey of evolution and expansion is a real powerful one, because it will challenge you. It will bring you down to your knees. It will humble you over and over again. It will ask more of you. It will demand more of you. And this is the way that you grow. You are being forged by taking this path. And it requires you to be willing to invest in yourself, willing to listen to the voice inside you that wants more. There is so much more out there for you. I'm not here to live a small life. I'm not here to settle. I'm not here to live life according to somebody else. And this is why you must be willing to see yourself. And also, cycling back to the title of the podcast, well, I hope I call it this, nothing is inconsequential. You have to be willing to unpick yourself and look at the nuances of you and how you are made up. So as I journeyed back to myself, and I continue to journey back to myself as I'm strutting through my 50s, it requires this audacious awareness of looking at myself and being willing to look at myself deeper, hear myself deeper, and to live by the mantra, nothing is inconsequential. I've got to change the things I do over and over again. I'm sure you can hear the neighbour's dog barking in the background. Thank you for that. So it comes back to shifting and changing the things that you do often. And it's your words. I want you to double down for the rest of the month on this. You can't change anything unless you are aware of it first. You need to become aware of what you're thinking about, the words that are coming out of your mouth. And this is why it's so important for you to know where you're going in life. You've got to know where you're going. Do not come at me and say you don't know where you're going. Do the work. Stop being lazy. Do the flipping work and find out where you want to go. Find out where you want to go. Double down. You get one life. And if you do not know where you're going, everyone around you is going to pull you in their direction and you're going to live their life. So you've got to know where you're going, and then you've got to talk about what you want into your very existence. You've got to talk about what you want into your very existence. You've got to become more mindful of the words that you speak every single day. I made a list. I'm looking for my little list for you. And you've got to become aware of when you're using child language. I can't. I mustn't. I should. I can't do this. I'm trying. Oh, the trying, that word. They're all child languages, and you are not a child. You are a grown ass adult. And you must start talking like an adult, a mature adult who is in charge of herself, who is in control of her destiny. And you do this by shifting the one thing that you do over and over again, which is your words. You've got to be super conscious of this day in, day out. You cannot fall asleep at the wheel of your life. Your body and your mind love the path of least resistance. So if you fall asleep, you get complacent. Complacency is going to be the worst thing for you. Never get complacent. Stay vigilant. I'm a student of the I Ching. It reminds me every single morning. Stay vigilant, stay alert, stay awake, stay disciplined, steadfast, return back to neutrality over and over again. You must not get complacent on yourself. There was a thread I was talking about somewhere in this conversation around your ego wants or thinks that there's a step-by-step process, that when you do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you are going to get H. And there is your happiness and anything else that you want. Life doesn't work like that. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about you rolling that wisdom around. I'm living for the destination. And no shade, I lived like that for many years. When I lost 10 pounds, I'll be happier, more sexy, more desirable. Definitely put all my validation and acceptance onto the external world. So this is something that we all have to do. We have to accept and validate and appreciate ourselves over and over and over again. We have to see our little wins, and we have to hold ourselves when we make boo-boos. Excuse me. And how else did I do that? Oh yeah, when I earn XYZ, I would be free, I would be happy. And it doesn't work like that. If you want, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all what you want. You want to be rich, you want to have 10 husbands. Good luck with that. You want to travel the world, write the book, start the business, expand the business. It doesn't matter what you want. What you always have to do is turn the mirror back and go, who do I need to become to make this happen? Who do I need to become to make this happen? And then get really curious about that. And then start acting like that woman right here, right now, because you only ever have the present moment. You don't have the past. The past is done. You don't have the future. The future is fantasy. Live in the now. Practice living in the present. What can I do right now? Well, I can definitely change my thoughts right now. I can definitely change the words. This is why I love morning journaling, and I love writing a love note to myself at the end of the day, because it really helps me and supports me in honing how I talk to myself. So I start to see how I'm talking to myself. And then you refine and you edit. You're not going to make these changes in an instant. You're not going to make these changes instantaneously. You've got up to this point in your life doing things that you have done. What got you here won't get you there. So you need to practice patience. You need to be willing to learn a new skill: patience, discipline, determination. And in the process, you will build robustness and fortify yourself. And what I do know to be true, because I've worked with thousands upon thousands of women, I've changed my life and I keep changing my life, is that it will happen when you commit to it. When you commit to the journey, when you become more okay with how you handle your impatience, when you know that discipline is part and parcel of the process. So let me leave you today with some different phrases for you to practice. It's no good practicing these one day or 1 week and then going back to how you were. You've got to do this every single day. If you and I wanted to learn ballet and we wanted to become very good at ballet, we would have to practice every single day. So this is the same thing about your inner world, which is what I'm all about. Change your inner world, and your outer world has got no choice but to match. This is what manifestation is all about. It's about the art of creating a life that lights you up, being the main character, confident, unbothered, exclusive. So, as we're wrapping up this episode of Nothing is Unconsequential, before I share these different phrases with you, if you feel the pull to dive into the depths of who you are, if you're a highly successful, ambitious woman who's moving through her 50s and you want a guide, you want elite support, then drop down into the show notes. There is a link, and apply to work with me privately. I'm your private therapist and coach, and together we will walk together. Wrong word there, Star. We will swim together into the depths of who you are. We will rewire you from the inside out so you become the woman that there's something in you that you know that you have always wanted to be. The sayings. Instead of saying, I don't know, say, let me find out. Instead of saying, I don't care, say, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. Actually, I'm going to do that one again because I didn't get the tone right. Instead of saying, I don't care, say, it doesn't matter to me. Tone matters, energy matters. Instead of saying, tell me, say, I'm listening. I'm listening. Instead of saying, I'm lost, say, I'm exploring. Instead of saying, I'm tired, say, I need to rest. Instead of saying, I think, say, I'm certain. And instead of saying, I'm trying, say, I'm learning. I trust you wrote those down and you will weave them into your life. Nothing is inconsequential. Nothing is inconsequential. And your thoughts and your words will, when you wrangle them and you commit to changing them, they will help you upgrade and elevate your life. Until next time, stay absolutely fabulous.